All right, all right, all right. Well, welcome to the Mo Mindful Show, ladies. I'm so excited to have you all here today and with this evening. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have some great conversation. So, um, this is the Mo Mindful Show presented by Mind Over Matter Youth. Uh, a happy new year to both of you all.
Happy New
And
Year.
thank
Happy
you.
New Year. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. I'm the host today, Dr. Mo Red, and I'm excited to bring you valuable, timely, and practical information to help shift your mindset so that you can shift your reality. Now, while this is our first episode of the year, I promise to give you much, much more in 2024. And so, starting with today, we have the dynamic dual superstar host of the Abundance Tree podcast, Ms. Janice Luke and Miss April Capri.
Yay. Hey.
Hey, you're too
What's up,
kind.
Dr.
Thank
Mo?
you.
Their podcast highlights extraordinary individuals who have carved out paths to success through unconventional measures. Their aim is to inspire and empower dreamers by showcasing the remarkable journeys of the doers, those innovators, mavericks, and trailblazers who actively pursue abundance. These are
Ooh,
the names. So,
Dr.
welcome
Mo
to
with
the
the
show.
fire in the chat. Thank you with that
Put it
fire
in
intro.
the chat.
Well, I know you all could have done it a little better because you've been doing this, you've been putting out the work, sharing with people in your podcast, and I'm so excited that you've taken the time to join me on this evening. So, how we're going to get started is I want you all to give yourself another just brief introduction, any points that I may have missed or what have you, and then we'll go ahead and move on from there. So,
Okay.
Janice, you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. My name is Janice Luke, and I'm the host of the Abundance Tree podcast, as Dr. Mo said. And I'm also in the education space. I've been teaching for probably like 26, 27 years now. I have recently started a business, and I'm looking to not only grow our podcast, but to grow my business as well. So I'm having some different strategic partnerships going on. So in the background, trying to get the business off the ground and continue to grow with our podcast. And I'm really excited. So thank you so much for having us on tonight, Dr. Mo.
All right. Yes, yes,
Love
yes.
it. Yay.
Right?
All right, Ms. Capri.
All right, so I'm April Capri. I'm in the insurance space. I host the show with Janice, so I am her co-host, and I am also starting and launching a business, which has been just buckets of fun. To say, it comes with its peaks and valleys. It's been a journey, so I'm launching my insurance education business and just hosting a podcast, meeting wonderful individuals like yourself. You were so kind to grace us on our podcast and share with us what you do. So. I'm just happy to be here. So thank you for having us.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right. We're a little late on that. Trying to multitask here. All right. So let me start by saying that I'm ecstatic to have you two queens on my first show of the new year. And what better
Ooh.
way to start the year off than to discuss abundance? And I'm going to call you all the prudent purveyors of abundance. So our
I don't know about these
conversation.
big words, Dr. Mo, but I'll go ahead.
It sounds good. I'll take it.
Right.
So you guys are, trust me. Um, you've had the opportunity to speak with a lot of different people over the course of your podcast, and I'm sure you've garnered lots of tidbits and gems and nuggets that have empowered your life. And by doing that, you allowed us audience members to be able to be empowered as well from all those different fantastic gems that other people have shared, as well as the gems that you guys have shared. So I appreciate you all. I applaud you all.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a conversation, but I do have questions. So let me just get to my questions.
Gonna fire away.
Cue up the Jeopardy music. Nah.
Right.
All right, hold on. Why are we tripping here?
It's kind of
So,
surreal to be on the other side of it. So it's pretty
I know,
fun.
right? I know, right? It's my
Right.
first interview.
Like yeah, me too. So it's awesome.
right. All right. So we're calling this episode um, "Abundant Living."
Okay.
Um, well, abundant learning for abundant living,
Okay.
and
Love
and
it.
so I try to get a little interesting with phrases and things like that, but essentially we're talking about lifelong learning. Okay. So I'll start by saying, how would you define abundance or prosperity? And are those terms synonymous in your opinions? And either one of y'all can answer that.
I wouldn't say synonymous. Um, one is an overflow, and one is just. I think uh, I think it's kind of like a quality quantity thing with abundance and prosperity. So
Okay.
I mean, they go hand in hand. I wouldn't say quite synonymous. I would say
Okay.
both are desirable. Uh, you know,
Right.
both
Mhm.
on the positive end of having enough, and then also having more. So
Yeah, I agree, and I think it is just how it looks for you and how you define it for yourself. I think it's very personal for the individual and how they're going to define those two terms.
Right.
Like you can have an abundant life and go to your people even working 9 to 5s can have an abundant life and be happy where they're at.
Hmm.
It's I think it's going to be based on the individual as far as if whatever their lifelong goals are going to be, whether or not they're having abundance or living an abundant life and a prosperous life. It's going to be very unique to the individual. So
That's it.
it could be really it could go. I think it's within their heart, within themselves, how they
Right.
define it.
I
That's it.
agree. I think it could be subjective. We see it with the celebrities all the time. It's just like you got prosperity up the wazoo, and you still don't feel abundant like you still.
Right. Right. Right.
So yeah, I do agree, Janice. It can be subjective.
Right. And well, my perspective is always I always consider the mindset. So how people perceive things. So like you just said, April, somebody can physically be very prosperous, but don't feel like they're living an abundant lifestyle. But conversely, they can be abundantly provided for and not feel like they're living a prosperous because
Mhm.
in the Bible it says, they want us to prosper. Oh, God wants us to prosper in everything. So prosper in our health, prosper in our wealth, prosper in our relationships. You know, but then if you look at it from the abundant side of it, we want to be abundant in that. That doesn't necessarily mean a lot, even though some people will say abundance means a lot. But abundance to me means that you have enough. So my abundance could be different from you all's abundance.
Mhm.
If I just want
Right.
two friends, two good, close, you know, ride or dies, then that's all I need. And I feel like I'm full. Where somebody
Right.
else may be like, okay, I got to have a whole posse running with me all the time, and people saying this about me and giving me this type of praise for me to feel abundant. So I think you're both right. It's definitely subjective. It's definitely according to any person's own perspective. Um, but in keeping in that, so by virtue of your coming or creating a platform with that name, the Abundant Tree, um, and seemingly with the express purpose of disseminating knowledge, you seem to provide a vehicle for continuous learning, continuous adding of abundance or prosperity in individuals' lives because you're giving them knowledge, and the application of knowledge is what we all desire, right? It's not just knowledge. Knowledge is not power, but the application of knowledge is power. So, what would you say is, if you wanted to define or characterize lifelong learning? What does that mean to you all?
Well, I'll go ahead and answer. I mean, to me, I feel like I've always been a lifelong learner because um, from as way back from I can remember. I mean, if I was ever interested in anything, I've always wanted to study that particular subject. Any subject. It didn't have to be like business. just anything that I felt like I was interested in. I pursued it and I wanted to learn about it, and I was very intentional about my pursuits and learning about it. And then most of the time I would be successful in that area that I pursued,
Okay.
only because I was interested and I had a vision to where how I could be successful in my own life with it. So, and I still have that in my heart even now. So, um, there was a moment in my life where I was being held back a bit, which I probably won't go into on that. But I'm back. The last couple of years, I'm back to the point where I can feel that passion again, and I have pursued different things, even afraid, and I go study it, I go learn about it, I go do whatever I got to do. I get into rooms where I can learn, people that have been there before me can teach me, you know, to immerse myself in it if I'm interested, and I just take it and run with it. I'm a go-getter. So, and that's also subjective too, because you have to be very intentional about how that looks for you.
Right.
But to me, it's life. I'm seasoned. I'm Gen X, so I'm a little old, but I don't think it's too late. And so I'm still gonna pursue my dreams and goals even at my age now. And I've met a lot of great people as I started my pursuit again. So that's how I see it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. April, you got anything you want to add?
Whew. Well, lifelong learning to me is just pushing yourself constantly for me. It's learning from your mistakes, but it's also learning from the mistakes of other people. It's kind of taking everything around you and applying that, like you said, it's applying the knowledge. And, for me, I'm always in a constant headspace of wanting to do better, wanting to do better. For me, there is no such thing as consent. I will never be content with anything. Like, even if I have everything, I'm going to want some more. So that's me. So, I'm still in school at 40. So, how's that for continuous learning? But, I think that there are also different types of learning. It's not all about academics. You can learn from people. You can learn from self experiences. You can self learn. YouTube University. There's a lot of, I think, more than we had, because I'm right after Janice. Barely made the millennial, like so.
You're still a baby.
Look, I'm a millennial with Gen X energy, though. Like, we had to
Right.
do encyclopedias to learn. So now everything is at your fingertips. So now I just feel like, with the abundance of resources that we have out here, and just the abundance of information that we have now, it's really kind of like picking your path, because there is so much access to information, and then you have to make sure it's the right information. So I don't know. Just lifelong learning is to me just somebody that is always striving to learn more and do better.
Right. And I've lived enough life, even in personal life, not just academics or not just learning new skills, but to where I've learned from a lot of the things I should have done better, or I could have talked to my younger self and told her some different things, different choices and whatnot. So just living life, and what you take out of your journey in life, that's lifelong learning too. Hopefully that you can be stronger as if you ever go through it, or happy or sad, or whatever it may be, that you take that and continue to learn from those experiences, and all the way in, and that you can bring someone up behind you to kind of advise them that you've been through it. So that's very important as well.
Yeah. And I like to just add that, to me, lifelong learning is constant questioning. So as you question things that you've done, you question things that other people have done, you question those mistakes that you've seen or you've done yourself, um, with the express purpose of developing a suitable answer for yourself, uh, whatever that looks like. And so, like to learning should be lifelong. It should be automatically lifelong. Unfortunately, far too often I see that it's not. People are um, stagnant and or just comfortable where they are with whatever information that they have. And like you all said, it's not necessarily formal education. Like, somebody doesn't have to stay in school until they die. But I do believe that um, once you stop learning, once you stop growing, you are conversely heading in the wrong direction.
Mhm.
Um, Even if at 75, you're not trying to, figure out, watch Jeopardy and even, try to figure out some of those things and learn new things from that, or walk around the corner and just experiencing new environments. Um, if you don't, those are the people who maybe retire and then they sit at home and their body and their mind starts to die off.
Mhm.
Um,
So one thing that I was raised with, I had a very strong family unit growing up, and my parents were very big on education and learning lifelong. But my dad, one thing that I took from my daddy, that he would always say, no half stepping. Whatever you decide to do, there's no half stepping. So
Mm.
there's no doing it halfway. You do the best you can, whatever it may be. And my mom was an avid reader, even up until she passed. At 87, she was an avid reader. She always was learning, and
mhm.
so I took that to heart, and there's no half stepping for me. So mediocrity is not in my definition of my life.
Right.
And I see that around me, and I question even that, where I see people that are settling for mediocrity, and that kind of bothers me because I strive to improve myself and to actually, continue to make gains in my life. And to me, that bothers me if a person doesn't have that mindset. But what can I do? But I know for me, you know, as they say, for me in my house, we'll serve the Lord. But for me in my house, I don't settle for mediocrity.
Right.
I won't be half stepping, like my daddy used to say. So
Right.
whatever I get into. So
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So when I think of different areas too, and you all can jump in with different areas, when you look at lifelong learning. So since it's very subjective, it could be anything. Well, let me backpedal a little bit. So to that point, if you're not growing, you're dying. And in our case, if you're not learning, you're dying. So, and I don't have specific statistics, but um, I know that Alzheimer's and dementia,
Dementia.
when
mhm.
people stop engaging their minds, so even if they're not doing puzzles, Sudoku, reading, playing some video game on the phone, doing something actively with their minds, then they do physically deteriorate and be heading toward the grave. So it's not just words that I'm saying when I say when you stop learning and you stop growing, you're dying. It's true. I mean,
Yeah,
it's life.
100%.
Oh
I
yeah,
agree.
100%.
Yeah. So
100%. They say use it or lose it, and
right.
Yeah,
So
that's correct.
so to those
that
people who are
applies
listening,
to your
who
body or your mind.
if you're listening and you're concerned with any of those things, even for yourself or for your parents, your grandparents, or whatever, try to get them engaged with doing something just to keep their mind sharp.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Facts.
Absolutely. Even if it's just TV or social media, like those, I feel like those are tools that you can use either way. You can just
Mhm.
kind of like veg out and just watch it, just to, watch it. Or you can like, they're actually good learning tools too. You watch
Right.
a documentary,
Documentaries.
change your algorithm up on the social media, watch some people that are teaching or coaching or whatever, like piques your interest. But as long as you're getting some type of new information, so your brain starts to, like
Mm-hmm.
just get outside of itself. It's normal pattern sometimes because it's not healthy to stay in that same, what do you call that? Reference circle. You know it. You know what I'm talking about. Frame of reference.
Oh, frameworks.
Yeah.
Yes.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
So, what are a few areas you'd say um, that people should particularly stay in tune with, um, or always look to grow in?
I think all areas, body, mind, and spirit, grow, get better at everything. It has to be, you exercise your mind by learning new things, reading, having meaningful conversations, meaningful relationships, getting in
Mm-hmm.
rooms with people that have been there before you to get all those gems of knowledge from them. Physically, keep your body moving, eat right,
Mm-hmm.
try not to, stay away from all the things that are not good for you as far
Right.
as the nutrition stuff. Um, it's spiritual, either whatever you do, right? I'm a Christian, so I believe in God and I have faith in God for my life and my family. And if it's meditation, something that to keep you, grounded. Even if you need to go to therapy, I'm in therapy. I've been in counseling for the last 2 years, because I'm coming out of an adult trauma. And so I'm in a much better headspace than I was 2 years ago. And I'm continuing that because I still have my moments. And so that's lifelong for me in my book.
Really?
So it's body, mind, and spirit. You got to keep, yourself on point in all areas, in my opinion.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I would
is.
say, I would really say self.
Self-care.
Knowing self, emotional intelligence, really getting to understand you.
Mhm.
That's been a struggle for me. Because once we get a certain age, once we grown, we think it's over with, and it's so not. You know what I mean? It's a constant. It's just a constant advancement, or it should be a constant advancement of trying to do better, wanting to attain more, wanting to expand in many different areas. So I would say getting to know self,
I
um,
think that's huge.
knowing
That's
what
so
your
huge.
boundaries are. Yeah, what you
Yes.
like, what you don't like, because those things change, and just kind of
Right.
understanding like how the outside world affects you internally. Understand why you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling like that. Why did this just make you mad? Why does this make
Yeah.
you happy? And I think that a lot of times we pour so much of us out, we're so focused with everything outside of us, we don't even look inside. And then by
Right.
the time we do,
Exactly.
it's usually something is wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that requires a lot of work.
That's
So
so powerful, April, because just get you to know yourself again. I lost myself for a while. I didn't
me
know who I
too.
was anymore, and so I'm just now getting to know myself again, and self love, self care. I don't
Yeah.
ever think I'd learn how to love myself until recently, and
I'm
Mm-hmm.
so
still figuring it out.
it's huge. I know. So we're still. I mean, and that's one thing too. I've had conversations with my family members, and we're all just figuring out everybody. So we
Right.
just have to get out of our head. We're all figuring it out. We all are.
Yeah.
Right.
So what level you're at, we're at different places in our lives, but everybody's just trying to figure it out. And so that's so huge what you just said, April. It's so powerful.
Oh, you too.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. In all aspects, God is first, and self is next, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to constantly be learning about ourselves. And I commend you, Janice, for getting in counseling, and also acknowledging it and not hiding it, because it's nothing to be ashamed of. I was in counseling for a long time, when when I was going through some personal things as well, and it helped me so much. And we're talking about lifelong learning. So, like, if you just focus on yourself by in and of itself, you have enough to be learning for a long time. So, because you're constantly changing, like you said,
Right.
April, we're constantly developing, constantly growing. We think we have it figured out, but in my older age, I've changed my eating. Well, first of all, I'll say not just changed it. I'm more conscious about what I eat, because when I was younger, I didn't care, right? But now I have to think about it, and I have to be very diligent in knowing what works with my body and what doesn't work with my body, and therein lies some additional opportunity for me to learn something. Um, and then I've also been diagnosed with a couple autoimmune disorders, and I need to be abreast of treatments, both holistic and Western medicine, and the spiritual aspect of it, and all these different things. I'm constantly trying to figure it out. And so I stay, whether I want it to or not, I stay learning, figuring out stuff, and trying to understand more things about my life, just by itself. And then I have children, and I have grandchildren, and I have a relationship. And so now I'm trying to learn other people. As my children grow, they're changing. So yes, I knew them at this age, but next year, now that I got to know teenage stuff, then
Yeah.
I got to know this.
I
So
feel you. I feel you.
you got to constantly
Yeah.
be in tune
Yeah.
with things. So health, fitness, relationships, your own intelligence, spirituality, technology, and innovation, because it's here.
Oh, it
Yes.
is.
And so if you're not going to engage with it, you know, you're going to be left by side.
Right.
So
Yep.
you definitely got to know about, and then your own community, whatever that means, wherever that is, right? So we're about the midway point. So before we continue our conversation, we're going to have a little bit of fun. And so I
I'm
called
already having fun. What are you talking about?
Well, yes, I'm sorry.
I love it.
We are.
Uh,
Um, I call this mastermind, MINE, because you have to master your own mind. So even though it is mastermind, what most people think about, but mastermind. So midway mastermind, that's what we're doing now. Um, because you are what you think about. We want to know what's top of you all's mind today. All right.
What is this? You are what you think about. I'm scared. How about you are what you eat? You are what you think about. I don't want to reveal
You
that.
are
You know?
what you think about. So,
listen, I'm about to. I'm
Right.
finna lie. I feel like I'm thinking about $1 million. Let me materialize that real quick. Thinking about the winning lottery ticket.
This is a little
there
scary.
you go. So
This is
we're
a
gonna
little
be
scary.
on talking. I don't want to say from the top of your head. Think about it. So you're gonna give some responses. They have to be very quick though. And I'm gonna say a phrase or a question, and I just want you all to blurt out the top of the thing that comes to your mind. Okay. All right. So for instance, I'll give you an example. So if I say favorite movie, you might say what?
Paid in full.
Okay. Janice, come on. You ain't got no movie. You don't go to movies.
Forever Young. I like that one.
Okay. So, all right. So there are no wrong answers. So it doesn't matter. Okay? But I need you to go fast. All right. All right. So here we go. All right. Where's my list? Hold on. Technology. Then I told you need to.
Listen.
You need to have technology.
You know what? It's embracing change. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. We just got to be ready for whatever comes our way. It's all good.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
I'll put that in my next book.
I remember
For real.
computer lab, and
How many books you got now? About 17? Nah.
I'm working on it. I'm on my fourth book.
On your fourth book? Wow.
This is my very first book.
congratulations.
Oh, what's the title of it? I can't see.
Grace for Granted.
Grace for Granted.
Don't start getting into interview mode, April.
Huh?
We're guests. Don't start getting into interview mode.
All right.
I love it. Congratulations.
You guys are doing a magnificent job.
Listen.
So we're having a conversation. You're not being interviewed. We're having a conversation. Anyway, so.
Right.
That's me about to start talking about your book. Like, what?
Yeah.
So a conversation amongst friends. All right.
No, that's a great achievement.
Here we go.
Ready.
Favorite color?
Ready. Black.
Purple.
Memorable book or author?
Ooh.
Me.
You, Dr. Mo.
Dr.
Good
Mo,
answer.
right?
All right. Person you trade places with for a day.
Oh,
Cardi
I
B.
wanna say-
Okay.
Queen
day.
Latifah, baby. Queen Latifah.
All right. So luckily we don't have to say why.
No.
Cat Williams.
It looks like fun. I don't know. Let me have some fun for a day.
Cat Williams had a very interesting answer. He said nobody. I like
That's the first thing that came to my mind,
right.
but because you don't know what go on with nobody.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
That literally is the first thing that came to my mind.
Right. All right. Vacation fantasy.
Egypt.
Oh, you said vacation fantasy?
Mm-hmm. So that could be a place. It could be an activity. And
Camping.
This is a PG show.
Glad you did that.
I don't want to hear about
No.
the Mile High Club and
No. I'm very modest, Dr. Rose.
biggest risk you've ever taken.
Joining a mentorship program.
Getting married.
Right.
Oh, dog! I should have said that.
I would say that. I would say having children.
Oh,
I ain't go there.
Speaking of children, childhood celebrity crush.
Oh.
Hold on. Let me rewind.
More, baby.
I'm gonna say Stacey
Shamar
Dad.
Moore?
Yes. Oh,
Who did I have a childhood crush on?
Yes.
Or we can fast forward. Adult celebrity crush.
Shamar Moore.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Come on, you ain't watched nobody that you was drooling like.
You know what? Back then, because we used to have a whole lot of people, but nobody's. Remember Word Up magazine?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Word Up magazine, where they used to come with the posters. All your
yeah, April, just say JJ Walker.
I have to go with the daddy. JJ.
Oh, come on, he's tall, he's dark. Come on.
No, he goofy. Oh no, Michael had more the alpha energy. JJ
all right.
was
well, I forgot. Y'all can say pass.
Let pass.
Thanks for telling us.
Thank you. Before I say something, get me in trouble.
All right, best compliment you've received.
Oh Lord.
Best compliment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right, guys out there, y'all watching, y'all need to be finding these ladies and complimenting them. They got to think about it.
Pass.
Yeah, pass.
All right, you're more than enough. That's my compliment to both of y'all right now.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, what motivates you?
Money.
Okay.
I would say my kids, and then just my goals would be second. My kids and my goals.
Okay. What advice? The worst advice you've ever gotten.
Man.
I gotta pass.
Well, why y'all think?
I'm a pass too. Listen. I'm a pass.
Remember, people can learn off of your mistakes.
No. Oh my God.
No, Cat Williams, he said this. I like this. It was 2 words. Don't change. That was the worst advice he's gotten. Because people think about don't change like that's a good thing. No, it ain't. We got to change because things change. Yeah. So I like this. All right. Your relaxation method. How do you relax?
I'm a pass.
No, come on. All right, just say if I'm thinking what you're thinking.
Because I already know April. I know April already. So
you can just say,
I'm not going to tell it April.
Starbucks.
No.
Oh, no.
Starbucks.
Just
Starbucks
thoughts.
makes me happy.
Okay. Janice?
Just self-care. I mean, just
right.
Self-care. Yeah.
All right. I like listening to music, jazz music particularly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Something you wish you were better at.
Oh. Dancing.
Okay.
Actually, I was the first thing that came to my mind was loving myself, and that's true for me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
And now I need something a little more meaningful than. No, I would say executing for me. Executing.
Executing. Okay.
Executing. Definitely executing.
I would say executing as well, and to be more specific, as it relates to my health. All right. Who would you want to be stranded on a deserted island with?
Somebody with a boat.
Ah, very good.
Somebody with a boat.
Shamar Moore.
We got 6 more, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put Shamar Moore. I'm gonna put Shamar Moore for the rest of these here.
Oh my God!
Because one is Wildest Adventure, so let's go ahead and get it out. Wildest Adventure, Shamar Moore.
No, no. I've had a wild adventure. I've done a ropes course before. That was wild for me.
Okay, I did that too.
I
love those.
A ropes course. Yeah.
What is that?
You climb up these. Go ahead, Janice.
Yeah, you climb up these elements and you're just harnessed with a rope and you belay down. I got onto this that's called the Mo pole in Hunt, Texas, at Mo Ranch, and I climbed up this big old telephone pole, and you step on the top of it with 2 feet, and there's nothing there but your harness and the rope behind you.
And then
there's a trapeze in front of you that you got to jump and hold on to. So my legs were shaking, and I jumped, and I caught the trapeze, and I caught it with one hand, and then I let go. I couldn't hold on to it, but I did it. I jumped. So that was very scary.
I did that same one. Look, if you guys go on my Facebook page, the little thumbnail, the circle one. That's me doing it. I'm jumping.
Yeah.
Really?
But that was for
In
me.
Florida.
That was years ago for me. That was
It was
back
years
in
for
the
me
day.
too. It's just an old
Yeah.
picture.
Back in the day.
I'm so scary, y'all. I'm not very adventurous.
Oh, well, then
I'm trying to break out of that
break
now.
out of that.
I'm trying to.
Go to iFly. Y'all had that down there. I know y'all have it down there.
I fly.
iFly. It's a indoor skydiving place. It's
Oh
it's a
yeah,
wind tunnel.
yeah. My
Do
nephew
that.
does
It's really fun. It's exciting. It's scary at the same time. But do that because it's contained. Now I've jumped out of a plane, but that's fun too. So
Oh,
for my 40th, actually, when I turned your age, my gift to myself was skydiving.
Mm.
So
More power to you.
Go on YouTube.
More power to you.
Go on YouTube. Type in Mo Red's Big Jump. You'll see it.
Really? Okay. I'm gonna have to check
More
that out.
power.
Yeah, I'm gonna live that through you because I won't be doing that.
No, right, more power to you. But
No, my thing is the helicopter. I would do the helicopter, but I'm gonna stay up in the helicopter. Won't be jumping out of the helicopter.
All right, we're gonna have to stretch you. All right, a few more. Something most people don't know about you.
There's probably two. Well, you probably know. I don't know.
Just one thing.
One thing. Well, I'm mixed race. How about that? So,
okay.
Yeah.
If they don't know it about me, they probably shouldn't. So I'm gonna pass because I'm pretty open.
All right. Your guilty pleasure. And Shamar Moore can't be answering.
Can I pick Starbucks again?
Okay, that's it though. No more.
That's it.
All right, so this should be easy because I'm giving you choices: jazz, classical, gospel, hip hop, R&B, rock, or country. Just one.
See, I can't pick one because I listen to all of it.
Just
it
come on, this is top of mind. Top of mind. Come on.
I can't do jazz or country, so but
you don't like jazz?
I do all.
I'm not
it.
jazz or country. I'm sorry. Rock or country. Rock or country. Rock or country. No,
right.
no. I do jazz, gospel, and of course the hip hop R&B.
Okay.
I like the old school R&B stuff too. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Europe or Egypt?
Egypt.
I don't see myself going out of the country, honestly.
Really? What?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to take you on an airplane.
That's the
thing. Skydive into Shamar Moore's hands.
I went to Atlanta, and I hadn't flown in some years, and I went to Atlanta recently, and that was a little challenging for me. So, I mean, that took a lot for me to get back on a plane after quite a few years. But
just get a Dramamine or a little
so,
juice.
Yeah.
A little juice.
I don't know about being on a plane for several hours now.
We'll see, that's the thing. Now, I'm like that with cruise ships. I don't think I don't see myself being on a cruise ship.
Dramamine. Just get some Dramamine. You got to go. Cruises are the best, to me, best vacations.
It's
ever.
the being on a boat for multiple days for me. I can't.
All right. Y'all missing out. You're missing out. All right. Your wildest adventure. We talked about that. All right, I'm going to skip that. Words that describe you using your first initials. Your first and last initial.
Joyful and loving.
All right.
Awesome and ready.
All right. And then the last one is going to be a memorable quote, scripture, saying, or ideology. It doesn't have to be a favorite, just a memorable one.
For me, for I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord, are plans to prosper you, give you hope and a future hope, the hope in the future. So is that in Chronicles? 2 Chronicles? For I know the plans for I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. I'm paraphrasing, but I think that comes from 2 Chronicles.
Okay.
You're doing better than me because it's Sunday and I couldn't name us. I'm glad.
It don't have to be no scripture. I said saying, ideology, whatever, quote.
Saying our ideology or a quote.
Or even something you live by that maybe you even created.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it.
There we go. All right. All things are possible through Christ who believes. For those who believe. All right. So that's it. Good job, ladies. Good job.
Ugh. Look, I need a redo. You messed me up with that JJ one. No offense, JJ. Love you. Love you. Love you.
Exactly.
You're awesome.
All right, so let's go back into our conversation. Got 10 more minutes. You're doing great.
Shamar Morzan.
Was that what that
Hold
was?
on.
He done got you sweating and
No.
cold sweat or winter,
You
one of those
know,
winter sweats.
one thing you're gonna learn about me is that I'm a very like if I can laugh about something, I will. So I'm kind of a goofball. So,
Me too. Me too.
yeah,
Wow.
You gotta be. You gotta
yeah,
have fun. My biggest thing that I do, I enjoy life.
yes.
I actively seek to enjoy life, and it's interesting. Real quick, I'm gonna deviate. A friend of mine, my best friend, actually told me one day. This was years ago. He was like, "You think everything is like supposed to be fun?" I'm like, "Isn't it? Like, isn't it?" And when I look at my life, I'm like, if I didn't have that attitude, a lot of things could be wrong, could seem wrong to me, but I don't. I don't carry that stuff on me. So I I gotta have fun. Gotta have fun. Not at anybody's detriment, but I just take care of myself. All right.
Awesome.
So now, all right. So you've spoken with a whole bunch of different wonderful movers and shakers and a variety of interests and expertise on your podcast. And I know your guests dropped lots of different gems. So if you could, and you don't have to say any names particularly, but like, could you identify maybe one each nugget, maybe even two nuggets that you guys have learned, being these lifelong learners that you are from talking to other people?
Well, I like to say shout out to all our guests that have come on to the Abundance Street podcast. Shout out to all of y'all. We're going to be recording episode 23 this evening and later on this evening as well. So, and we're actually booked up through
23,
March
Michael
right
Jordan,
now.
the greatest. Y'all the greatest already. Look at that.
Slam dunk.
So yeah, but there's been like a major theme in my opinion after we've interviewed and meeting such great people on our podcast is basically whatever our podcast is based around being abundant and we're out to prove that like building success can be done in non-traditional ways, not just going to college and all that, but we've been taught the more traditional route. And so we'd like to hear about the guest journeys and the grind in that and for their own personal journey. And there's been a common theme in my opinion, and that's just basically executing, doing it afraid, keep going, don't quit, staying consistent, don't give up, building strategic partnerships, and just keep going and pick your niche and don't go for every little shiny object. Pick a niche, stick with it, be consistent, don't give up. Strategic partnerships. I mean, that's been the common theme in my opinion. I don't know, April, what is your takeaway? I mean,
My takeaway too, a lot of it goes on mindset. Is the mindset? Everybody, it always circles back to mindset, and that's the common thing for me. And then also one thing that I particularly enjoy is just the variety, the fact that people find their niche, and then sometimes you don't just find it on the first try, but they kind of advance and evolve to find their niche, and it's not always the common thing. We kind of seem to think like very narrow is in terms of like jobs and occupations, even entrepreneurship, like what can you do, but there's like so many different niches, so many different fields, so many different skills and talents and little pockets that you can fit in, and people are so creative in the things that they figure out, and they kind of make their own, they make their own space. Right. So that's what I've found, and I've found common with everybody pretty much. Even if they do the same thing, everybody does it a little different.
Right. And they're not afraid to pivot if something's not, working or, not, and that's different in my opinion from finding every little shiny object and moving here. You might have to pivot, but we just keep going and not giving up. So
one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Interesting term when you said people learn in a non-traditional way. Um, it's to me, it's almost oxymoronic to say non-traditional learning because we were taught that learning was one way, right?
Yeah.
And a path that you had to do. Like you mentioned in one of your podcasts, actually the introduction of your podcast, Janice. I remember your very first episode. You mentioned that you know traditionally we think we're supposed to go to school, get a good degree, get a good job, get married or whatever, and that's it, right? But all your guests have blown that idea out of the water. So it's no longer this non-traditional. I mean, no longer this traditional learning. It's very non-traditional, and just that term to me kind of like um, it resonates with me. But I think it probably it makes some old school people a little like
Yeah.
quirky, like you know
I,
you're learning on the internet or you're
Mhm.
learning language on your iPhone, like that's not how you need to go to school. No, we don't do
yeah.
that anymore.
Things
Right.
ain't the same like it was.
No.
Yeah.
It's not, and so I think we are stuck in a lot of old ways that need to
Right.
advance. And like you said earlier, Dr. Mo, technology is not waiting for nobody that want to like it. You're
Right.
gonna have
Right.
to figure it out, or you will get left behind. And
Right.
that's with a lot of, like, I mean, look at the real estate market. We can't go to school and buy a house fresh out of high school and college like they could 20, 30 years ago. We're not playing on the same battlefield. So,
Right.
but their frame of understanding is of course, from what they know, and not this. So I just, yeah, it's
I
different
kind of
strokes
think,
for different folks.
yeah, yeah, I agreed, April. But I kind of, I feel like it depends on what generation you kind of came up in. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm Generation X, and my parents were older parents when they had us, and so they came from like more of the baby boomers, and so ever since when I was a little girl, first second grade, my parents would say you're going to go to college and get a good job, and always told us to go. You're going to go to college and get a good job. I heard that all my life, and honestly, when I came out of high school, that's exactly what I did, and I got my degrees and everything. But honestly, the opportunities now that are available to people, even if you do want to go and get some kind of certificate or degree, it's not as it was before, where we heard like basically if you wanted to go to any type of college, it was always like get your basics out of the way for at community college and then transfer to a 4 year or go to some kind of medical school, whatnot. But there's so many different ways to learn now. It could be online learning, like teachable, or it could be more like it's like technical schools are out there. I mean, we didn't see all of these opportunities that the kids are
Right.
getting now. And so that's the space I'm in education. I help the students figure out what they want to do when they graduate. And I always tell them, if I had a me back then advising me and showing me all this information, all
Man.
this available things to me, I don't know what I would have done. I would have been like, I honestly told them I probably would have made some like other choices or different choices.
Right.
I
No,
think I probably would, but there's so many just different routes and different opportunities now that technology has brought about. It's really awesome. I can remember going to the computer lab to print out my paper for college, and we had our light, we thought the cool phone was a landline with that had the phone that lit up, the light. You go to the dorm, and we memorized everybody's phone number. We had it
Right.
down. We memorized it.
Right. Right. How many numbers do you really know? Right.
Right, we did. So,
none no more. I remember when I got my first pager, I thought I was.
yeah, I remember
I
that
thought I
too.
was Janet Jackson coming to school. Like,
And so to see it evolving
didn't
like
have
that,
nobody calling me or beeping me or whatever, but I had
it's
it.
amazing.
Same
And so
here.
the kids now, but it is scary now because some of the young folks, like the generation, what do they call it, X, or like my
What is
kids
this
coming
new
up.
one called?
I don't know, but it's kind of
That's
scary
sad, y'all.
because
We got to do better.
yeah, because
What's the new group called?
right, because I was raised on hose water, getting outside and playing, and these kids are
Right.
in front of the video games and that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's okay. I'm not like knocking it, but it's like, can they have meaningful conversations with each other? Are they comfortable with that? I don't
Right.
know if we lost something because of it, but we still got to stay up with it. So I probably just went on a whole rant, but sorry.
I would say that
But
as far as like the person-to-person, face-to-face communication, like communication skills,
Mhm.
that is something because they kind of came up in a space where it's more, automated. Everything is increasingly automated,
Right.
where, they are more proficient in technology, which is good. That's great. But as far as, kind of like person to person, certain things you kind of have to be out in the streets to pick up on, you know what I mean? Like personality, situations, you know what I mean? Just certain, I guess you develop a different type of senses, you know what I mean? When you come out the house and play versus when you're just always in the house. And then, I think it's a lot of social anxiety now in that group. And it's, it's different things, but I'm talking about on the technology side, they are winning. They're big winning. They're big winning. So,
but with that, they're winning, but they have to keep in mind that, you can't always be looking for the instant gratification. It takes time to be great. It takes time to take your journey. Your journey is going to take some time. And so don't always be thinking it's going to be overnight, or I failed here because I didn't get this at a certain,
That's what it is now.
It takes time.
That's what it is. It's very quick and fast paced. Like I am actually so happy that I know both ends. Like when we came up in a time without cell phones, and it's not this constant. And now, like I use it more as a tool and a resource than, I guess just for daily or just for recreation or whatever. But I'm glad I have that, back in the day where we did not have that, because the 90s were some of the best days ever. Best decade ever was the 1990s.
Not the 80s. The 80s and 90s.
I grew up during the 80s. Yes. So we're going to wrap it up. But I wanted to touch on what you said, April, about mindset. Was one of the greatest things that you learned from your guests, and of course, this being the More Mindful Show, that's my whole philosophy. Like this show, my books, everything was founded on Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the ways of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. I think that's very important. So renewing of your mind can be translated to learning, lifelong learning. Constantly learning. So yes, we're supposed to constantly learn the word, and every time you read the word, you're going to get something out of it. Every time you experience something, you're going to get something out of it. And so, like Janice earlier, you said you felt like you didn't know yourself. You were covered up, right? And you had to uncover and seek support in navigating and finding that out. It's all about just renewing, learning something and renewing, adding on to it, building onto it, scaffolding. So, I thank you all for joining the show. I want to, we're getting close to closing, so I want to make sure that my audience knows how they can find you all, and so give your contact information and how they can find you when you're broadcast, all those different things. Where I know it's on YouTube as it says on the screen, but you're also on what?
Sure is.
And all that. So go ahead and talk about that. How can people find you all?
Well, you can find us on Instagram, The Abundance Tree on TikTok, The Abundance Tree on YouTube, Facebook as well. You can probably, if you search my name, Janice Luke, or The Abundance Tree on Facebook as well. TheAbundanceTree.org is our website, but right now you won't be able to book any appointments just yet. We're booked up through March, but we will be opening up the dates for April.
That says something. Very good.
I appreciate that. Thank you. We will put it out there when we do start opening up the dates for April again, so that way we can get y'all to sign up and come on our podcast as well. So April.
And check out Dr. Mo's episode. I wish I remember what number that was, but y'all will be able to see it if y'all go to the channel. Check out Dr. Mo's episode.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Definitely check out his episode. If y'all watch nothing else, watch him.
And on my show, as well as the Abundance Tree, we want to encourage everybody to like, share, and subscribe to the page. Make sure other people know about it. Add to that algorithm so that we can get more eyes on our program. So we thank you, ladies, for coming on to the show. It's been a pleasure. Of course, we're going to continue to do some work together. And I will see you all in your next episode.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I had a great time.
When does the Abundance Tree podcast come on? Come on. And don't you also come on Spotify and Apple?
Yes.
Yes, we usually drop our episodes on depending on if we have episodes prior every Monday and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central.
Okay.
And also they come out on Apple and Spotify and a couple of the other platforms on the podcasting platforms on the same night. So, but we post reels and things. If you follow us on social media, we post a lot of reels leading up to the episode. We usually stream live on YouTube on Mondays and Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Central.
Right. So everybody tune in. Make sure you subscribe and like the Abundance Tree Podcast. So thank you, Janice. Thank you, April. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah.
And I will see you on the flip side.
See
See you on the flip side. I love it. Bye.
Man, Dr. Mo, reminding you that your thoughts are your truth. And I'm out.
All right.
This was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.